Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wise Kracks. The World Series is pretty exciting this year for me, Bill Krackomberger. The Phillies are on fire. By the time our peeps see this, it's either going to be 3-1, Phillies will be up 3-1, or it will be tied up at 2-2. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Phillies are going to be up 3-1.
I hope you're right. I mean,
yeah?
This is a tough game for them tonight. So, but like I said, by the time people see this, that will be over. But I'm rooting for the Phillies for the World Series.
Now, I know you don't bet games, you don't watch games when you bet, but you definitely watch the World Series, right?
I watch more and more as this
point.
Doing so much media,
right.
You have to watch some stuff.
Right.
So I've definitely watched much more. I bought the Red Zone for the first year.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm Sundays after.
That's actually a very exciting way to take football in.
It is. That's the only way I take it.
It's the only way to do it. I agree.
Another way.
Yeah. The game was really exciting. Last night's game. Bryce Harper hit a home run in the first inning. Got them all fired up. The guy is absolutely possessed. And then I don't know if you saw, he was talking to one of the players, like giving him some advice or something. And that guy came up and hit a home run. Did you see that?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he was telling him something about.
Did you watch the whole game?
Most of it. Yeah.
You seen Harper's home run?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's a big game for them. That's a giant swing game for them.
That's big.
First game home.
Yep.
Harper hits that homer. My God.
Yep.
I didn't see it. The place must have been going
crazy. And that's what you want, right? You want to win one game on the road when you start on the road, which they did. Crazy comeback game one, right? And then you got to win first game at home in your park, and it kind of sets the tone. It gives you the momentum.
Yeah. Good deal.
Yeah. Good deal. We have a fun show today. I guess we got is it a friend of yours, Paul Matties?
I know Paul. Yes, I've never met him.
Never met him in person.
Never met him in person.
How long have you known him?
Known him at least 10 years, maybe more.
That is crazy.
More, maybe a little bit more. But he followed me on Twitter. I followed him back. And I said, "Is that Paul Matties, the horse guy?" And then, sure enough, it was.
You had heard of him?
Oh yeah. Well, I dealt with him before. Yeah,
you dealt with him before.
I dealt with him.
What does that mean?
That means I've got his. I've had his picks before.
Horse picks.
Because I'm very cynical about horse racing.
I know.
You guys know. So I'll just tell you, this guy is one of the only winning guys in the world. The Matisse brothers, and there was another group here in Vegas for a little bit, but they've blown out. There was a guy that died who was a genius, absolute genius, Richard Schwartz. And then these guys. I mean, I'm sure there was other groups that, like, it's called Beat the Bell. That was an old thing. You used to go to the racetrack. You used to have a guy at the window. You know, you ever go to the racetrack, you hear the bell go off, like races?
Sure, yeah.
Done betting.
Like
no more bets.
They just came out of the gates. Yeah.
So there's a Beat the Bell thing. Guy stands at the window with the $50 teller, who's on the payroll, by the way, and the guy from outside yells who broke first. This is on Trotters, by the way. Trotters.
Yeah.
The wheels.
Yeah.
And he'll yell 7. So 7 got out. 100 to 1 on the 7. 200 to 1 on the 7. Right before the bell. So you're beating the bell. Guy at the thing. Giant thing. Guy with binoculars out here, like that. Sees the horse break first. Yells 7, and then bang, 7.
Really?
Oh,
Wait, that still works today? That
doesn't work today.
Okay.
Multi-millions were made at this across.
Just off of the break.
Yes.
Which is absolutely important in horse racing.
Beat the bell.
Wow.
Yep. So besides that, I don't know anyone that wins. I mean, every trainer and owner thinks that they have the best horse and thinks that, oh, my horse is great. My horse is working great. He's great. So whenever you get these horse race tips, that's why they always lose. Everyone thinks the same thing about the horse.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
I love it. One of my
I'm so glad he's coming on and talking now.
I'll talk horse racing all day. I love it. Yeah. Okay, NFL, the unders, what's going on in the NFL?
Just
some of these games. Nobody can score.
Boring under games. Some of these
Tom Brady can't score. Did you ever think you'd see the day?
The parity of the NFL is unlike it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like I always say, NFL is any given Sunday, anything can and will happen.
Right.
It's an old saying. I've been preaching it for decades. And it's the reason why it's so hard to bet on these on NFL sides.
Yeah.
And this year is no different. I think we've had literally
The Raiders got shut out.
Yeah, 4 double-digit favorites have won outright this year, by the way. Outright. Raiders shut out. I mean, God, it's like ridiculous. It's just the primetime games have been really bad this season, too. Oh, God. I'd like to get that guy on our show. He probably won't come on. I asked him one time, Howard Katz, who makes the NFL schedule.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to get permission from the and you know what? Everyone else comes on. So what's the big? I mean, it's not too big of a deal. But I don't know. I'm going to see Howard here in a couple weeks at the Teddy Atlas Foundation. So I'll see what he says.
He does a big
He has
event
to get
every
permission
year
from the commissioner. So,
there was an exciting game I watched. I watched Carolina. I went over to, I don't know if you've ever been to Dog House at Resorts. It's the sports book over there and sports bar.
I know.
It's a fun place to watch a
Resorts
game.
World has a lot of space there when you go into the right. Like there's out in the parking garage, going to the right there.
Exactly. That's where I was.
There.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it was
Food
good. A lot of people
good.
there.
Yeah. It was packed. Yeah, it was good.
What made you go over there like a tourist?
A friend of mine was in town, and he was staying there like 3 weeks ago, and he said, come over here. And I was like, really? And I was kind of skeptic, and then I got over there, and now I have a table there every week, and it's cheap.
Oh, wow.
It's cheap. Like the food and beverage minimum is $25 a person.
That's nothing.
It's nothing.
So you get
I have the same table every week. I talk to the manager every week, same table. Yeah, it's incredible.
Well, I was at the Circa this weekend because I was filming some documentary for a German company, and which is going to be coming out. I hope I can even talk about it. I don't know, but they interviewed me, Derek Stevens, and I was with Derek for a while. He had a nice orange suit on for Halloween, and so I was down there and filming, and it's amazing what goes on at these places.
Yeah.
Listen, the boots that they have there at the Circa are $2,500 each, and they were sold out.
I know.
Sold out.
I know.
Wow.
I know. I don't even go over there. I love that place, but to watch the game, it's just too crowded. You got to get there early, or you got to pay crazy money.
But it's not just Circa. It's everywhere.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
You go to Westgate,
everywhere. It's so hard.
You go everywhere. The Caesars they built stands, grandstand in the back of the Caesar. They put stands up there. I don't know if it's going to work. I won't be surprised if I even see it again. They took it down.
Oh, okay.
They put it up just for the weekend. I guarantee you, there was no one really there. Who's going to pay to sit on a metal stand?
That's not happening.
$50.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There
was the Atlanta versus Carolina game was really exciting. Came down to the wire.
Yeah.
In the last final seconds, Carolina
missed an extra point.
Well, Carolina throws a bomb.
Okay.
Guy catches it in double coverage in the end zone. Touchdown to tie the game.
Wow.
Now they just got to kick the extra point and win the game.
Right.
He takes his helmet off to celebrate, and so that's a penalty, and it gets enforced on the point.
10
so
yards.
10 yards back. Kicker misses the point.
Wow.
Then that same kicker had a chance to kick like a 32-yard field goal. He missed that. He's probably just he was probably just out of his mind at that point.
Is he still around right now?
Still around, yes, still around. No accidents. But yeah, and then Atlanta ended up winning in overtime.
Oh,
Crazy game. That game was fun though. All right, Bill, it's time for our guest today. I'm pretty pumped up about this one. Why don't you do the honors? Who do we have today?
Sure, we have. Listen, one of the only winning horse bettors that I know. There was a small group in Vegas I know that won. There was a guy that passed away that was a genius, and we're going to ask, our guest is Paul Matties, and we're going to ask him about both of them. And here we go. Hey, Paul, how you doing, buddy?
Wait, hold on. Before we get to you, Paul, I'm insulted. How are you just assuming that I am not a winning horse bettor?
Yeah.
How dare you?
And away we go.
Sorry, Paul. Go ahead. I just had to clear the air with Bill real quick.
Paul, you got show from those winning tickets you got there.
That's right.
Yeah,
Paul, you live in Saratoga full time?
Yep.
What a dream. Jesus. I went to Saratoga for 20 straight years, maybe more, 21 straight years. Got some really good connections to the track there. Get up in the morning and literally the guy takes me around the back of the track at 6 in the morning. And I was with my buddy Teddy Atlas, and it was Teddy's connection really. But now I go there my own and I can hang out with him. We met everyone. I remember me and Teddy going back to the back there, and we met Wayne Lucas.
Wow.
Like Teddy really didn't know who D. Wayne Lucas was.
Sure,
that was
of course.
In the day. He was
That's the guy. Him and Bob Baffert. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we met them. We met so many other trainers and owners and just driving around in the morning. It's just the sun, the dew.
Yeah.
It's just what a place to be. Saratoga every summer. I used to go before Breeders' Week, so I would go literally Friday to Friday and get out of there before the tourists and everyone hits that Saturday. So you live in a great spot. You're there full time. Do you do any betting at Saratoga, or you kind of stay away from the bigger tracks?
Well, I play all the tracks basically, but I go for the everyday during the meet. It's kind of a weird thing because it's not my biggest meet to bet or anything, but the social aspect of it, being here all year round, that part of it, I get it for about 6 weeks being up there.
Oh wow! So you go every day? You go every single day?
Yeah, I go every day to
Isn't that
Saratoga.
great?
I love it.
Isn't that great?
Does Saratoga? So I grew up in LA, so Santa Anita and back in the day Hollywood Park, right, were our two main tracks. And Santa Anita was packed in the 80s, early 90s, and now if you go there, other than the Breeders' Cup, when you go there now, it's pretty empty. How is Saratoga in terms of a crowd?
Well, Saratoga is you still get those crowds, like the
Wow.
old school crowds. But even there at Saratoga, it's coming down to maybe twice a week, Fridays and Saturdays, and then the other days it's a little bit less. I used to love the Santa Anita infield when I was younger.
Yeah.
When they used to have those big crowds. The first time I went to Santa Anita, and they had 40,000 there on a Saturday, and it was just it's an awesome place anyway. It still is. But but I have good memories of that too. I know what you're talking about.
Where did you grow up as a kid? Did you grow up in New York as a kid, or you and your brother?
I grew just north of the city in New York.
That's what I thought. Okay, so you were north of the city. And how did you get into the horse racing when you were a little? Listen, I lived by Monmouth Park, so I used to take when I was a kid. I was a little degen, and I used to literally take a bus from this little town called Kingsburg, New Jersey, a little blue-collar town in Monmouth County. Used to take a bus from there to Long Branch, from Long Branch to Eatontown, just to go to the racetrack at 13 years old, me and my little DGen buddies. When you were that young, were you betting horses at 10, 11, 12 years old too? Or did your dad get you into it? Your uncle? How'd you get into it?
You and I have similar backgrounds because I used to bet all the time, on everything basically back then, and not very good when I was a kid, but I loved I was always comfortable at a racetrack though. That was or an OTB, anywhere where there was betting, I always felt comfortable. Didn't matter what,
Wow.
at any level.
OTB. Oh my! Do you know what that is?
Of course, off-track betting.
They
Of
have
course.
them in California. I used to go to one in Staten Island, behind the Staten Island Mall. It was
in New York. I've been for sure.
Oh God, yeah. I think of the movie Let It Ride whenever I'm going to one. We used to go to an OTB. It was the worst of the worst. They're taking 5% on top of the money the tracks are they robbing you for.
Right.
It was just so bad. They all closed. Somehow they lost money and they all closed all the locations. There was some kind of scam going on there or something. It's hard to believe, right?
Political.
Yeah,
Yeah, political.
Political.
Everybody had their hands in the till. Yeah.
So you're a winning horse bettor, though.
Great character.
Yeah, the characters were good. You're a winning horse bettor. Listen, I don't know if you remember, and we're talking about this live here, so not live. We're talking about that, and we're going to talk about it, and hopefully you think it's okay to say. So I actually was introduced to you to get you some spots to play. Do you remember that or no?
No, not really.
So you don't even know. You were thrown out of every spot. So through a friend. So we dealt together. Did you even know we were dealing together a decade plus ago?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But
and you were thrown out of one of the biggest spots who doesn't throw people out. So I'm like, this is impossible.
Right.
This is how can you're not
horses.
You're not getting thrown out of this spot. There's no way. He was thrown out for winning. By the way, I want to say you were. There was. I remember to this day. I remember looking at Belmont bets. There was a Belmont. See, the bigger tracks are harder to beat than the little smaller tracks like Louisiana down. Well, you'll agree with this or you won't. The little smaller tracks are easier to beat than the big tracks like Belmont and Saratoga and of course like Del Mar. I would think, Paul, am I saying that right? The smaller tracks are easy. Information's easier at the smaller tracks.
Well, it was definitely the way in the past. Racing's changed. We're kind of in a transition. Like all gambling, it changes as we go. But in the old days, I would say that might be true. Nowadays, it's getting to be a little bit different because all the CRWs, like the computer guys, they're in every pool at every track. So it's a little bit different. We're living in an environment that's getting tougher and tougher by the day. So like in to ask go back to one of your other
Sure.
questions is when I started getting into racing, racing in the early 90s was like the best gambling game to get into at that time because you were getting rebates, so the take was coming back a little bit. It wasn't as bad of a betting proposition as like 15-20% on money. So if you were a serious player, you could get rebates. And simulcast, they started simulcasting the races all over the place, so where you could bet multiple tracks in a day. And a lot of people were stuck in their own circuits, and if you were watching lots of races at lots of different tracks, the learning curve was easier for you, and you could pick up. It was just a great environment. But things have changed nowadays. The computer guys have taken over every pool and every track, and it's become it's a much tougher go than. And like we were saying earlier, nobody goes to the track, so a lot of the recreational money is not in the pools. So it's become it's kind of changed the whole.
Paul, explain that to our listeners. What you just said. The computer guys are in the because I don't know what. Explain to me. Computer guys are in the pool. Explain that to everyone.
So what's happened in racing now is that you have these big syndicates that are, they're calculating all the odds of based on other pools and fixing all the odds at the last minute, so that you're no longer playing against all the players. The pari-mutuel system is it's kind of broken because the computer guys are taking over with algorithms and based on a little bit of handicapping, but basically how the money is bet, they're calculating the odds at the end, and they're changing all the odds.
So like manipulating the pools, would that be the right word or not really? That's too strong of a word.
That's too strong of a word, but like these guys will come in and you'll understand this. They have these deals where if they can guarantee a certain amount of handle, they ask for a bunch of things, total information, the ability to bet last, and if they do that, they'll guarantee them astronomical amounts of bet.
Is that legal? So, the ability to bet last and toke information.
That's crazy.
Tote information.
Right.
Is that legal on Paul?
Yeah, technically, because they're not really having access to anything that you can't, but they're built-in advantages. And racing's really, we're having a problem with that. It's going to really even get worse as time goes on because it's going to take the everyday players, maybe not necessarily, like you said earlier, not everybody's a professional gambler, but there's a lot of people that can play day to day and hold their own, and it's an entertainment, and maybe the excitement or the entertainment of it is their EV, basically. So, and those people are getting wiped out. People that I know that have done for 30 years, even longer, their whole lives, and they're getting wiped out.
Wow.
These computer
guys that made money their whole lives, you're saying, for 30 years, they haven't evolved or they're not part of these gambling syndicates. And then also, there's not that rebate. I know there was a rebate shop, and it might still be open, like Dakota, North Dakota, South Dakota, I don't know. Somewhere there was a rebate shop. So are the rebates still part of your game? Are they part of these computer guys' game? Do they bet there? Or you're saying they're betting right at the tracks, though, to affect the tote board?
Yeah, well, it's all based on because of the rebates. It's kind of they've kind of flipped on us because back in the day, it was essentially a takeout reduction. The rebates, you get your money back, and if it's more widespread now, you can pretty much get them at any ADW if you're playing significant amount of money, or even smaller money. They're willing to give you something back, and so the takeouts for a regular player are kind of like misconstrued in horse racing. But the bad part is that these guys have had these deals now where they'll bet 300, 500 million a year. And if they're they're just saturating the pools.
Wow.
And they're just taking more and more of the money.
This is more of a reason I don't want to play horses, John.
Right.
Hearing this.
Yeah.
Wow. Just hearing this stuff. Now, are you still, let me be blunt. Let's talk about you. Are you still beating? It sounds like that it's tougher for you to even win now, though. Are you still beating the sport?
Without a doubt. I won last year, which kept my record alive, my streak alive, but I had to really work, and I I'm doing like props and different things like matchups.
Horse race matchups.
Right?
Yeah, that was one of my questions.
Wait, what's that?
Horse race matchups is probably the way to beat the sport more than any. I'm misspeaking.
Like
when I asked
horses, like a match race?
Yeah,
like
no,
just
no.
two horses?
You're going like the Breeders' Cup, the big race this week.
like betting on futures.
You can go horse. Will this horse beat this horse? Will this horse beat this horse? You can pick any horse.
Wow.
That's real big on big race. The Kentucky Derby, the Breeder Cup races, maybe each leg of the Triple Crown.
Oh, I never knew that.
Horse race matchup. Explain that to John though. Am I saying it right? You're just betting minus 110 both ways. Minus one. No. I'm sorry. The pool starts at minus 110 both ways. But a horse can be a 3-1 favorite compared to a 21. Maybe he'll be minus 240 over and plus 200.
And you don't have to win the race. You just have to beat a particular horse. And I love that.
And that is the way. Am I right? I have a friend. I don't want to get him in trouble.
Can you bet that at Circa? No.
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 No. Yes. Circa has them.
Really?
Circa has them.
For the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. So would you say that's the most profitable way to beat the game right now is the horse race matchup on the big races?
Well, for me, it's the easiest way, but getting down and trying to get outs and stuff. I'm turned into a sports bettor now. I got to try to find ways to get down.
Yeah, they only give you a dime, like a dime max. Yeah.
And Paul, are most of your bets when you're playing horses, are they win bets? Do you do like show bets and try to make just a little on your money, like with a favorite? Is that a strategy? Like what's your strategy, or is there?
Well, my strategy basically is bet a little to win a lot. That's what I tell everybody.
Okay.
It's a little different than other gambling forms. The good thing about betting horses still is that you can make scores, and that's still the way to go, even though the computer guides there. So I've gravitated more to playing pick fives, pick fours, the bigger pool bets.
Got it. And with some underdogs, right? With some long shots.
And that type of bet, you have to get you have to be against the favorite here and there, and
right.
For it to pay, but even so, you can get value still in pick fours and pick fives, and it's tougher in the like I said earlier in the regular pools. When pools are pretty tough right now because of the CRW guys.
So
exact isn't right.
So if that's your strategy, I'm assuming then you could go like 3 weeks losing, and then you're trying to hit, right? Like you could even go maybe almost 2 months like in the dumps and then finally cash on a big one, right?
Without a doubt. That's the hardest thing about being the streak.
Yeah.
And in this environment, it's even worse because you have the races have gone so now they're geared towards the weekends or once a month, like the bigger days.
Yep.
So now, and like what Bill was talking about earlier, it's harder to win just because you have less opportunities and the streaks can be really bad on you.
Right. Right.
It can really wear on you.
Sure.
Where you don't hit.
You got to have a good bankroll. You have to have a good a good.
And so
bankroll.
when you do hit, you're hitting 20, 30, 40 grand.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Right. I got
and
you.
those pools, I was at Del Mar this season, and I put $100 a day up or $200 a day in a kitty, and they were putting it in the pool. I mean, I'll bet $10,000 on a college football game, but I mean, literally $200 or something and then they were putting it in a kitty, and the kitty was for a pick five. Pick five because they said the pick five maybe was like a lower hold than something else, and then there was a pick six where they had to give the money away. What's that called when they have to give it
carryover?
Carryover. They have to give the money away. So that's where the value would be on some of the compared to maybe a win bet where they're taking 20% or something, or the exotics they take more out of the gimmicks they call it, right? But there's more ROI if you know what you're doing a little bit more. Is that what I'm thinking, or tell me?
Yeah, you kind of have it right, but the pick fives nowadays are kind of what they're pushing people in because they have a lower takeout. So it's like a 15% takeout on a pick five, but it's over 5 races. So it's a relatively small takeout for what you're betting. And then if you can get a mandatory payout or a carryover, there's already seeded money in the pool. So you're basically playing without a big.
Right.
The carryover money will be added to the pool. So say there's a 500,000 carryover in the race. If they bet a couple million and you take out the the takeout is a couple $100,000, you actually have a positive ROI. They're giving you more money back than what's going into the pool.
Wow. So
you have these situations.
he said a word there. He said there's actually no vig because they're putting that money in. I never thought about it like that. Wow. Yeah. That's great.
And so are there times when you will bet a trifecta or exactas?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Just in general, I've bet a lot less than I used to.
Got you.
On those kind of bets. And also with less frequency. Trying to be more, the tougher the pools get, you have to be more precise.
Yeah.
Less plays than you would normally make. There was a time, like I said earlier, where, it was such a good situation. You just fire, you just keep firing and turn, and you create rebate, and it was a good environment. Right now, it's a little different. It's a much harder, tougher game to play with.
Hey guys, sorry for the break in the action, but I had to tell you about the KrackWinds app, as I do every week, but some of you are still not listening, so we're going to try to get you to listen because there is no reason why you can't be in the winner's circle with KrackWinds. So download the KrackWinds app. It's on Apple. It's on Google Play. You can just go to krackwinds.com. College basketball. You got college basketball coming up. World Series in full swing.
NFL props.
Yeah.
NFL. We do some quarters. Some first halves. And listen, the college basketball next week, though, boy, I've had some special years, and everyone that's joined me on KrackWinds knows that. I had someone last week I met that said, do you realize, remember a couple of years ago, you had 2 months straight where you didn't lose a day? I said, no, it wasn't 2 months. He's like, well, you lost juice. You went maybe the worst record we did for 30 days straight, he said, was 2-2. I was like, yeah, I do remember that. That was a giant, ridiculous streak, won 38 units in a month. But I kind of forgot about it. So, for the past decade, there's probably been no sport that has treated my bankroll better than college basketball.
Really?
Yeah, the first 2 months, oh my God.
Why the first 2 months? Just because the lines aren't right?
Yeah, that's a softer market. The sports books don't know.
You got to see how guys are going to play to know how it's going to shake out.
Well, actually, the sports books, people think so much differently of sports books. They think, every sports book has their own line manager. They put up. That's not true. You have 1 or 2 sports books, put up the lines. Everyone else copies them.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey do. That's perfect. I'm going to steal that.
Take it. It's yours.
So anyway, like I said, we got a lot of things. There's money management. I also preach finding value and success over the long run, over and over. This is what things I preach here. We're not one of those services that's out there and saying what we did last week or this weekend, and I got a $59 special lock of the year. That's all BS. It's all stuff that's on Twitter and stuff. Everyone's handicapping now. Listen, there's, like I told you guys, you have to go with a service that's a lifetime winner and a lifetime guy that puts their own money up, like myself. I put my own money up. I bet my own stuff. You'll see the line value you get, especially in college basketball, smaller market games. Listen, there's 350 Division I teams. It's just sick. I think there's 180 opening day games. The bookmaker cannot get those lines right, so we specialize on certain ones. And join KrackWinds, krackwinds.com, KrackWinds app.
Well said. And then after you do that, head on over to WSN.com to get your first-time sign-up bonus. For some of you that haven't entered into this realm yet of betting online, there's plenty of books out there to get some free money.
On their homepage, WSN.com, there's some new ones. I do not know who they are. They're brand new to the market, brand new to the business. I'm looking here. Owner's Box. Sorry, never heard of them. $500 deposit match bonus. Outlast, I never heard of Outlast. They're $200 match bonus. WSN has negotiated some unbelievable bonuses for you guys. And I could just go to the states, each state, like I always say, I go to the states, and then you can find out what state, when you're in your state, you can find out what kind of bonuses. I'm just going to click on New Jersey because New Jersey is the first one here. Caesars, up to $12.50. Free play after you join. FanDuel, $1,000 first no sweat bet. DraftKings, same thing. This is a deposit bonus of $1,000. I like them when they just add money to your bankroll. BetMGM, $1,000 risk-free bet. Bet365, points bet, $2,000 risk, two bets for $1,000 each risk-free bets. Tipico, Unibet, Bet Rivers, Hard Rock, Borgata, Golden Nugget, all $100 to $250 to $500 sign-up bonuses. But like I always say,
It's literally free money.
this is through WSN.com. They've negotiated some unbelievable deals. A lot of them are better than you can actually get going to the sites themselves. Also, the articles, they're updated daily at WSN. Tons of articles. Also, as you see, the latest from Wise Krack podcast, all of our podcasts are on there. Articles on prediction, news, odds, and the U.S. sports betting news I love. Articles, again, here. Vermont, Maryland, Illinois, Washington, D.C., Georgia, all these places, some of them are getting sports betting, all different articles that have been updated all week on there. Literally, you can find out almost anything in sports betting. This site is amazing, WSN.com.
Well said. Paul, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'll tell it. It's normally a long story. I'm going to tell a quick version of it for you because I know you'll appreciate this. Back in maybe 1990, I worked at a shoe store in LA, and I would jam down to Hollywood Park on my lunch break and make a bunch of bets, and then leave, and then go back the next day and see how I did. So I get down to the track and I make a bunch of bets, and the last bet I make is a trifecta bet, and that was only because I had $5 left, and so I was like, let me do some trifectas, right? So I put this trifecta bet in, and the three horses were Sky Launch, Rocket Gibraltar, and Wreaking Havoc was the names of these three horses. I don't handicap. I just go off of names and numbers, okay? I'm a complete degenerate when it comes to the horses. So I make this bet, and I did it at the automated machine, right? So as I'm walking away, I realized that my finger must have landed on the wrong spot. Instead of $1 trifecta, I did a $5 trifecta. And when you're 22 years old at the time, that's cheeseburger, fries, and Coke, the $4 difference, right? So I wanted to, have I told you this story? Yeah. So I wanted to cash this ticket in, but now the line is so long at the machine that I just walked away from, I'm going to be late back at the shoe store, so I'm like, screw it. So I go to the shoe store, I call that stupid hotline to try to get the results back in the day. This is like 1990, no internet yet, right? I can't get through. So the next day I go back to the track, and I got a stack of tickets. I go to the window, I give this lady every ticket she puts in. I'm looking at that little window, right? And it says not a winner every single time. Not a winner, not a winner, not a winner. Finally, I get to the last ticket. I hand it to her. I'm just locked on this screen, and nothing's happening. I look up and I said, did I win? And she says, she's looking at the ticket. She goes, you hit the trifecta last night. I said, I did? How much did what did it pay? She says it paid $18,450 something. I go, are you telling me I just won 18 grand? She says, no, you have it 5 times.
Unbelievable.
$92,000 and change off a mistake ticket, Paul.
They help.
The game of God was looking down upon you that day.
I haven't cashed a ticket since.
So, Paul, big weekend, Breeders' Cup. Now, anything you can give us that I know it's a big pool, and I don't think our viewers are going to affect the pools. Anything stand out for you that?
Come on, give me weekend? A winner, Paul.
You can give it to us off air if you want.
Well, I haven't really dug deep into it, but the one thing I do know that I'm going to do, that I'm going to I'll give everybody that's kind of out there. There's a horse called Flightline who's won all 5 races that he's run in.
You're writing this down, John? Flightline?
He's going to be a big favorite.
Okay.
And they're calling him the best horse in Secretariat, and I'm going to bet against him.
Oh, you're betting against him?
Oh.
Ooh, all right. So how do you go about that? How do you go about that?
I like Epicenter the best.
Epicenter. Oh, yeah.
He's the horse who won the Travers.
Oh, yeah.
He's second in the Derby.
Yeah.
And but I just think the scenario is, it's just like anything else. It's just so hyped. He's so hyped now. It's like a boxer. He hasn't beaten anything, but he's done it flashy.
Right.
It's kind of like knocked everybody out. So what happened is now, like I said, he's been compared to Secretariat, but he's never run against horses of this quality, ever before. So I think there's an opportunity where, a lot of people are fans and they want to be part of the good horse. This is the thing that like a gambler looks at. You guys will like this. I'm looking for opportunities when the guy goes down.
Of course,
when the big favorite goes down.
Oh, yeah.
I think this might be a possibility that might happen.
Wow.
And even if you don't, it's a chance. Like I said earlier, you're going to get value on your money because it's he's going to be such a big favorite.
Oh, wow. All right, there you go.
Like, do you think he's going to be like a 3 to 5 kind of a favorite?
I think he might even be lower.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And he's crushed everything he's ever run against, but he's never run against. All 7 horses in this race are better than any horse he's ever run against.
Wow.
Okay.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm going to throw. All right. So anything else? That's the big one. That's the one you like. Not that it's a big one. It's just something you like.
No, yeah, and that's the big race. That's the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Okay.
Cool. Is there any favorite?
I would say that if you're watching, I like this year the 3-year-olds. This goes along with what I was saying too. The 3-year-olds have been beating the older horses when they first run against them, and that doesn't always happen. Because they're at the end of the year they're kind of forced to run against the older horses. So I'm kind of geared in that mode. There's a couple other races where 3-year-olds are running against older horses. One's going to be a favorite. Nest in the filly race is going to be a favorite against the older horses, but I think all the 3-year-olds are going to do good.
Okay.
I like that info.
That's good info. I want to ask you about a couple guys. Let's see if you know these guys. Unfortunately, one of them died. Did you know Richie Schwartz?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
He was I was told, I never met him, but I know of him. I think he was here one time at the beginning when I was hanging out at the M Sportsbook when they first opened up a decade ago. I think he popped in one day, but he was supposed to be like a really sharp, real sharp bettor. I didn't know if you knew him. How about, were you a Del Mar guy? Did you hang out at Del Mar at all or not really?
A little bit, but
Did you know Jimmy the Hat? You know Jimmy?
Being out in California, but
Okay.
so I go a little bit, and
All
I've met Roxy out there, and
okay. We lost the connection for a second there. Did you know Jimmy the Hat?
I met him, but I didn't know him well.
Okay. Yeah. Legendary guy around Del Mar.
Yeah.
These guys all have secret code names, so I just want to know if you knew those. Those sheets that they had back in the day where there were Ragazine sheets, so they still even have them.
I remember those.
Oh yeah.
Supposedly Richie was like deciphered those sheets, and this guy, whoever Ragazine was.
I know who you're talking about now. Yeah.
Right.
But I didn't really know him.
He lived across from like Aqueduct or one of the maybe LaGuardia or something. He lived and it lived in a motel. Literally.
It was cool when Vegas was going. We were in the time frame I was talking about in the 90s. The casinos started giving rebates, and it was pretty cool because you'd hear all these stories about guys like talking about.
Yep.
All over the country at different tracks, And then when they started doing that, it enticed everybody to come to Vegas to play with these rebates, for the first time. And the guys would start showing up that you only knew about that were just, kind of legendary, and you didn't know if they really existed, and they would show up in Vegas. And a lot of the guys you got to meet, and know. And that's how I met a guy that you probably know, sports. I think he was in Dinky. Alan, who just passed away.
He just passed. That's a shame. Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. And and just a million different guys that you had heard that they were, big players, and it was kind of a great time because everybody came together in Vegas, and I kind of miss that. That's why I like when you do all those things in Vegas. I miss the stories that you hear, even the guys that just hung around. I like when they get hot, and like. Some guy gets on a run and he's playing 10,000 a hand in the blackjack, and later on before, like last week, he was running to get lunch. He didn't have any money.
Right. I love this. It's old time. It's old school. I love those kind of stories. I love talking about those things. I get myself in trouble. Like yesterday, I went after 3 different sports books here in town. I did. I tagged them all for throwing people out yesterday, and
I love that stuff. I missed that part.
Cost myself a lot of. Sometimes I cost myself media opportunities and stuff, but I don't know. You really can't buy me, and I yesterday really proved it because already I'm having some back. My guy, my agent, my manager's like, "Why are you out of your mind? Look what you're doing here." I said, "I really don't care. They throw people out and for winning, and they chase them in the parking lot for the ticket. Give me that ticket back. I mean, really, this stuff really happens. You bet
it's
something they offered.
That's how things have changed. No, that's too bad.
Yeah, you speak
the fun
of
part out of it.
You spoke about rebate in Vegas. Was that the old boardwalk with the mirror Ferris wheel going around, or and now why were they? What kind of rebate did they give, and why did they stop doing it? Is it a law, or you're going to tell us?
Well, yeah, well, actually, Steve Wynn was the guy who pushed against it. He was getting some heat from California racing to
Mm.
try to. In fact, there was even a boycott for a while that they wouldn't send the signal to Vegas unless they didn't have if they kept giving the rebates.
Wow.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was yeah, it lasted close to a year, I think, the boycott, but it was a shame because it was such a good time, and like I said before, everybody came around. And then what ended up happening is Nevada passed a law that says that the casinos couldn't rebate anymore. So for the horse bettors, it kind of flip flopped. There was no reason to be in Vegas
Sure.
anymore.
No rebate.
And then the offshore stuff happened, and Pinnacle, and a lot of different places where you could get down, and then even the ADW started involved. So it just evolved into something different. But it all started in Vegas, between the coast, Gold Coast, and Boardwalk, and a few other places there in town.
Wow. And the rebate was nice. You're getting back, I guess, 10% or something like that on
Yeah, it was 9-10%.
10%. I mean, that's but now, so is that thing I asked you earlier, is that like gone now? Can you get that anywhere still, or has everyone cut that? You still could. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, it's a little bit more. They've cut it down a little bit. The rebates are less than they used to be. Like I said, we're working backwards.
Yeah.
And so you can still get something. But
rebates are everything too, right, Paul? I mean, rebates is everything. That's how you win.
Well, it's like you said earlier. You hate betting because it's such a high takeout, but the rebate is essentially a takeout reduction. So if the takeout's 15% and you're getting 9% back, now we're talking in a real legitimate world, of takeout.
Right. Right. Now, do you do your own work, though? You do your own research, is it, we all know that when you go to the track, you hear these guys and they're hitting the sheets and we got the lady here. They're all BS, of course. We know that. It's all total BS. But is there still good information out there, or do you go by literally the racing form, or you go by video replays, or I don't want to, ruin the special sauce, but maybe you can give us a little dive in.
No, I do my own figures and watch all the replays. That's another thing that's making it harder too, because there's way more information around now. So everybody's a lot better. There's a lot of services out there that do a lot of good work. So, back in the day, the stuff that was out there, like you were talking about, was bad, and nobody really knew. Now, we're in an environment where the everyday handicapper is pretty good. They're pretty sharp. They know what's going on. There's very few people that play names and numbers anymore.
Hey, now, wait a minute, Paul. I'm here to tell you, horses with cat names, okay? Home Run Kitten, Kitten's Joy, She's a Pretty Kitty. These are good horses to bet on.
That's good. That's very interesting, though, Paul, that you're saying that. So you're telling me that there actually is good information out there that actually you run into, you actually go head to head with, and you wish it wasn't out there because it actually will cut into your take.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that's part of what's making it so much harder, and the internet did that, so everybody that comes to the races are pretty much well prepared. They even have like clocker reports now where you could, in the old days, you would go in the morning and watch the horses work, and those guys had an edge, or you met you got somebody on your team that would go out, and you'd have an edge of how the horses are working in the morning, and leading up to the Breeders' Cup, you can watch on the internet, on YouTube and all kinds of services. You can watch every horse work every day.
Wow.
So
you see the word he said there, John? He used a word. I've heard that word I have a sharp friend that you know who he is. And he used to have a clocker, he said. He used to use the word clocker.
Yeah.
So explain to the audience what that is, a clocker. Is that someone at the racetrack taking real odds on real times on workouts, or what is that?
Yeah, so in the morning, the horses work out to prepare for the races. And even nowadays, it's even more important because the horses run less and they work out more. So about every 7 days, a horse will work out, and what they'll say, breeze, a half mile or 5 furlongs. and you can judge how the horse works in the morning. And what clocker means is that they time them, the guys who time them. But now then you used to have like private clockers who weren't working with the racing form, who would give you like detailed, explanation of what's going on in the morning. That all times aren't the same. So two horses can work in 48, but one worked really good and one worked really bad. So but nowadays you can see it. Or if you don't want to watch it, somebody else will do it for you and give you that information.
And Paul, you just said that horses run less now. I didn't realize that. Why is that?
Well, I think what's happened is that, like you have guys like the LeBron and Tom Brady that are paying, that have these conditioning things where they pay lots of money to condition their bodies and get in shape. And that's kind of the way the racing's gone. The more money you can spend to keep the horses ready, but because of that, they're more fragile, and they try to push them for one race a month or one race every 2 or 3 months. And because of that, the trainers with the best conditioning programs and the most expensive ones are thriving, and the smaller trainers are kind of falling by the wayside because they can't.
I didn't know that.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Fascinating. My last thing for you, Paul, and this may be a secret sauce thing. You don't have to answer it. I think every trainer or every owner or every guy that's hot walker, everyone thinks that their horse is good today. Or they'll say, hey, my horse is bad today. I'm just going to work him. Don't even bet on it. But I would think the opposite. Every trainer thinks their horse is great and they're going to beat him today. Is that inside information? Let's call it inside information. Is that still out there where it actually pays off? Or is every owner, trainer, like I said, think that they're going to win?
Well, it's worse now. That's a good point that you make, because the info is out there. Well, first of all, bad info, info that is negative on a horse is better than a horse than one's positive. For what you said, most of them like their horses. I didn't really need to know that the trainer liked the horse, because I figured they did. What you wanted to know is when they didn't like, But because there's so few trainers nowadays, and they have these big programs and they have all the horses, that the info gets around. We live in an information society too. So these guys have horses with a bunch of trainers, so they can get that information from a trainer. There's guys I know that'll have horses with 3 different trainers, so they can find out what every trainer thinks about every horse they have when they run. And then that gets spread around, again, making the game a lot tougher right now because of stuff like that.
I like the Richard Dreyfuss method. Going around, who do you like? Who do you like? Who do you like? I mean, Trotter. One of the best characters
so good
on all gambling movies. But Paul,
the mush in the Bronx.
Mush in the Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
That's important. The guy, he's ahead by 4 lengths. No, it doesn't matter. Ripping the tickets up 4 lengths ahead.
There's a lot of mushes out there. I know you probably know them too. There's a lot of mushes out there.
Listen, I just bet thousands and thousands against a mush. I didn't like anyone in the World Series. But I know these 2 guys that they don't even know each other love Houston in the World Series. I just bet against them based in and by the way, only because we had really good prices out here, because this Mattress Mac guy, bet so much money on Houston that we could take plus $1.80 plus $1.75 on the World Series. Unlike
he's a horse racing guy too. I don't know if you were
I didn't know that. Is he?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he owned the horse Run Happy, and he's the way his personality is. He advertises Run Happy as a stallion all over the place.
Oh wow!
So Mattress Mac has a big. He's a big deal in racing too.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow!
And also, he bets the Derby. He'll go to the Derby and bet a couple million on the Derby every year too.
So that means the other horses have some value if you're betting $1 million on a horse. Am I right? Even though it's a big
odds in the Derby, which is crazy.
Wow!
Guys when they try to figure out the odds and morning lines and stuff, they try to find out who he's going to play because he'll actually have an impact.
Sure.
On a pool like the Kentucky Derby, which is insane.
Insane. Well, this has been a blast.
Yeah, this was great.
This is great, Paul. Really appreciate you coming on and looking forward to doing some stuff with you in the future.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having me, guys.
That was cool. I can talk horse racing all day long.
Listen, that may even be a boring segment for some people, but you guys know how tough I am on horse racing. every $100 you put in, they take 25% out of some of these gimmicks and exotics. They take at least 15%. So but it's such a bad thing. You're better off playing Keno or the money wheel on a lot of situations. And I'm really tough on horse race bettors and horse race, but I knew we had a guest here. It's very special. That doesn't go on shows, doesn't talk.
If you're getting thrown out of anywhere,
he's getting thrown out of everywhere.
That's unbelievable.
We talked
Betting
off
pick
air
vibes.
for a minute.
Yeah.
My God, this guy gets thrown out of everywhere. He gets thrown. He gets thrown out for winning, and he's betting into these kind of pools. I don't even get it. I don't even get why the big spots throw him out. I don't even understand. Like, in other words, especially if money's going into the pool. If money's going into the pool, I won't understand. I understand out of the pool,
right.
Sometimes smaller tracks, but he's betting big tracks. So
I can't believe I didn't ask him about, are any of these races fixed, in his opinion?
Yeah, I tried to get into that with the trainer part. I said,
are
they, I didn't really want to say the word fixed.
I got you. Well, speaking of fixing sporting events, let's talk about this, because I don't like when people say, oh, it's fixed. I'm really having a tough time with Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva, man. I've seen a video where this right cross did not land, but the Schmo, my buddy the Schmo sent me a video, and it does land in his video, so I'll give him credit on that. But I just from the clips I saw, I didn't see the whole fight, but from the clips I saw, it looks like I'm looking at an Anderson Silva that is going at 50%. Closing the distance, getting within striking range, and just doesn't even throw a punch. Like, why? It just, I don't know, man.
The whole Jake Paul thing is getting old, and I'm sorry. I'm no disrespect.
Yeah.
We had his trainer on
here. We had BJ Flores on.
Yeah, we had BJ on. I love him, and I have no problem against Jake, but it's just let's fight a good guy with
a boxer
with a boxing record.
Fight a boxer. Fight any sparring partner for any known boxer. Let's see you just do that.
Yeah. No, let's do that. It's just But and especially this. I seen this video. I don't. The Schmo actually said that he has a video of the same exact punch that hit.
Yeah, and I did see the video. When he sent it to me yesterday, I didn't. I guess I missed it, and I just looked at it before we started the show.
He touched him?
It does land. It does.
Really?
I'm wrong on that one. It did land, but.
Wow.
But it's still, man, it's like you're knocking Anderson Silva out in the last round with a little Mickey Mouse 1-2. Like, I don't know, man. It's Anderson Silva. Like, maybe, I get it, he's 47, but still, I just feel like he wasn't fighting, at boxing range. He wasn't putting the pressure on. It looked like he was toying with him. It looks like
By the way,
a range.
I think Jake Paul can fight some guys. So
I agree.
So I want to see him get in there. I'm not putting him down.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
he's definitely put the time in. He's definitely got some skills. He's certainly got the cardio.
Yeah.
I get it. He's a marketing guy at the end of the day, and he's making a lot of money. But like, I don't know, man. You're calling out all these UFC fighters, and you're saying, calling out Dana White on fighter pay and stuff. And to me, it's like he's just made this a mockery. Just fight a real boxer that's your age, and it's okay to lose. Like, you'd get more respect of people saying, oh, he's a YouTuber. Like, fight a boxer that's 20-something years old, and let's see you beat him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. This was a fun show, Bill. This was good.
Is that where we're coming out of? Right there?
Yeah.
And then
we'll go back and do the clips.
Okay.
I mean, the plugs.
We could stop after you said, after you ended there, and then we're going to go into the plugs.
Okay. Well.
Or what?
No, the plugs are inserted in the middle of the show.
Okay.
So we could just do those independently.
So just do the ending.
So just wrap it up.
Okay.
Just the ending
All right. Let's wrap it up again. Sorry.
That's okay. Another fun show, another fun week. Are you? You've got a streak. I want to say 3 weeks in a row. Tell me you're back. You're still here in Las Vegas, where you belong.
I think I'm going to go to Jersey for some college basketball next week.
You are.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Since I last saw you, did you do the 48-hour or the same day? You did.
I flew to Connecticut and flew back 48 hours.
Wow.
Yep.
Legend. All right. We'll see you next week, and we'll see all of you next week on Wise Kracks.